So I'm gonna play these videos right now, and we're gonna look at AI and how it's affecting, and this is also involved in politics too, but how it's affecting, people's lives. People weren't expecting to be living next to data centers, and now I realize that, because I've worked in tech, I've been in data centers. These aren't the same data centers, because I didn't realize the noise that they're talking about didn't exist in those data centers, right? They used to have, like I said, data centers used to be like Netflix, AWS, Google, our company. Other companies just have a place to run regular servers for web searches, for backups, for their in the company, the systems that we use in the company. They weren't used for this. These are running at a very, very high level. They're doing compute, meaning that normally we would hear that noise like when we start servers up. The servers they use a lot of CPU when they start up, and you hear the fan. They're just blowing real loud. It makes that noise every time, and eventually it'll get quiet. But these data centers run at that level they just don't, for 24 hours, 7 days a week. This is what people are hearing. So this is the first video is a two-parter. It's going to talk about people living, I think it's New Jersey, or maybe it's Massachusetts, how they all of a sudden found themselves living next to a very, very noisy data center. And the politics, where politics plays into this, is that Massachusetts is blue, right? These are Democratic governors, a Democratic state, blue state, and they're still getting screwed by corporations. All of a sudden, putting a very loud data center, and then they do things. They'll say they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and then they lie and just do something else. They move as if once it's done, then they worry about the regulation. Because why? Because they're paying a lot of money. Right? They're rich. They can, they'll talk to you or they'll take you to court. All right. First video. It's going to talk about the sound and people. All of a sudden, this could happen to any one of us. All of a sudden, living next to a data center that's running at a very high level, a lot of noise, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
My apologies to you guys. I should have actually informed you to wear something that would have covered your face a little bit more, like sunglasses or something. Why? Because they have facial recognition in these, and artificial intelligence facial recognition in these cameras, so they can see you, and they'll figure out who you are. I'm Jake Forts, and I'm the resident here in Iowa Street in Lowell, Massachusetts, and you're at my humble abode. So that is the largest part of the Markley Group data center here in Lowell. In Massachusetts, in theory, you can't have a surveillance camera looking at somebody's backyard, and what the hell is that doing in the middle of a residential neighborhood? Without saying too much, being in camera view, it's been asked.
Afraid.
Why do you have to say that?
These cameras are high tech. They're $1,000 a pop. You have to be guarded on what you say around here, just because there is so much surveillance and what you do. Come back and actually see like the fishbowl of which I live in. For me in this neighborhood, it started 11 years ago. Markley came and they started lying immediately. 10 years ago, they put the 2 diesel engines. So if you're looking over here, you can see 4 diesel engines. The furthest 2 were never supposed to be there. Actually, none of these 4 were supposed to be there. It didn't explode until they got the AI in there. So when Markley came, they told us that it was going to be one thing, that it wouldn't have a big impact on the community, and that it was going to be Netflix. And it has been anything but that. They've repeatedly changed the site to the point where this neighbor, Eileen, who has 2 water tanks in her backyard, they just popped up there during COVID. They started construction, didn't ask, but it's always do and ask for forgiveness later with this company. These 2 engines here were the first 2 to go in. These went in 2016, and that's when we said, what the hell are you doing? That's not where these were supposed to be. Everything that was mechanical was supposed to be on the other side of the facility. And by the way, don't worry about these folks because they sold out in December to them. Markley owns this, they own all of this. We're the last 2 privately owned houses on this street, and 9 Prince Ave is the last privately owned residence on Prince Ave. When he is done acquiring at cheap cutthroat rates, then this will cease to exist. He already has a plan, which he slipped in 2017, to build another building on the other side of the parking lot, where the parking lot is. So where are those people parking? He needs to come this way.
So that was a residential area, like residential neighborhood that I live in, you live in, anyone can live in. All of a sudden, they put a data center there, and they have diesel generators because they have to have a certain amount of power, and if they can't get the power from the grid, they'll just run the diesel generators, and that's going to pollute the air, right? So you see how they have the cameras there, AI, they facial recognition. They want to see who's there. So if you do any vandalism to the building, they'll be able to get you. And he's very nervous about what he says. They have cameras pointed into his yard. They're not supposed to build things here, but they do it anyway. They don't care. But then you can't go to your representatives because they can't do anything either because they have already signed the contracts, right? They've already changed the laws, the zoning laws. Here's the second part of that video.
The tech bros are out there spinning a narrative to try and make it that we're all a bunch of hooligans.
Yeah.
I'm not a hooligan. I live this. This is my life every day. These guys are gaining for themselves. They're in it for themselves. The rest of the people are losing. And that's union versus union. That's working man versus working man. Exactly. It's everything. It's all. It doesn't matter what political spectrum you're on. Massachusetts, it's Democrat run. And this is proof positive right here in my backyard that corruption can happen in no matter what party it is when it comes to tech bros and the money that goes with these data centers. Yeah. You're in the Democratic stronghold of the country. And this company is running amok. Governor Healy has meddled in my own personal appeal against this company. They've had 3 plan approvals before the DEP.
Governor Healy, for people that don't know, is a Democrat.
She is a Democrat, correct. However, Markley Group has also given to the Republican governor before her when he first came in, Charlie Baker. He received money from him as well. And also he tried to stop the millionaires tax from happening. So he gave, I think it was about $4 million to the super PAC that was trying to fight the millionaires tax in Massachusetts. So the other thing, the component that you don't get, but you're going to eventually figure out, is unions. So there is union versus union. These data center bros, or tech bros, or whatever they call them, these tech bros that exist out there are literally dividing the working people against each other. And so how are they doing that? They're using unions. IBEW is making a shit ton of money off of building these data centers across the country. So much so, they can't even find enough people to build them, so they're training people up, which is growing their membership ranks. So they're so happy.
For people that don't understand, when you're in a union, the idea is that the dues go to the union and that union protects you.
Yes. But the problem is that people don't understand. That's one union. What is data centers, or specifically artificial intelligence, doing to the job market? AI is literally going to destroy every entry-level job that is out there and other jobs.
I don't agree with that.
And all this because one union doesn't want to turn their backs on this to make it make sense for everybody.
Online, there's people saying that this rise against data centers is being pushed by foreign governments trying to slow down the United States in the AI race. What do you say to that?
Well, my opposition was before that came out. Okay. My problems with this data center existed long before that narrative came out, which I've only recently, very recently heard. Yeah. And that's because the tech bros are out there spinning a narrative to try and make it that we're all a bunch of hooligans.
Yeah.
I'm not a hooligan. I live this.
The narrative he's talking about actually started with Kevin Leary. I played the video from him. He's a meme now to me. Was talking about how, if you're talking against data centers, you're representing China, or China is paying people in the United States to protest and fight data centers so they can get ahead. As if people wouldn't be mad at that building, that big black massive building being in their backyard and making noise. So it's interesting though, just to think of it, the political part of it. He's in a blue state, he think everything's well, and they're just bulldozing through that happening. And it's I couldn't imagine living next to that those big buildings. And that's a big black building, and it's only gonna get worse.